أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. There are some questions that people had when we had to break to make the salah. We don't want to make it too long, inshallah, make it, necessity for the people, inshallah. One of the questions, and then the brother here had a question, state college, four-year college, they don't say anything about, getting income tax check or that was unemployment, disability. All of this is from the same system. So if you trash one, that's a necessity, and from the ways of the land and from the staple ways that we live, then you have to trash them all. And if you don't, then you should be careful. You should be careful. Allah musta'an. Allah, Sulaiman.
No. Bismillah.
Remember your life.
Yes. Bismillah. My question is, with what is going on in America right now, my question number one is, what do we do as an American, as a Muslim, and as a black man in America, because this has been going on for far too long, and we shouldn't be succumb to this behavior, knowing we know the injustice, we know the racial, what's the word?
Segregation.
About segregation, and then also the the life of there's a word for it, but I'm gonna come back to that. So what do we do as?
Just explain what you mean. Forget the word. It's okay if you lost the word, but what do you mean?
In terms of with the housing, employment, racial inequality, right? So what do we do? Do we just take it as it comes, or we have to fight for it? In the sense that this is where I approve the protest, because even it is not once but twice or many times, even in the Quran and the Hadith, when several cases when Allah called Sayyidina Musa to go to Pharaoh and say release my people. That's a form of protesting, hey, release my people. And he told him talk to him in in good manner, use good words and everything. And that is what he did for him to fight for the people that God want him to release. And then also secondly, when I don't remember his name, that he was gonna come attack the Kaaba, and then there was a man, I don't remember his name. He came to him and said listen, I'm not here to fight with you. I just want you to release my camels.
Okay.
For me, so that is for me it's like a form of protesting. These are mine, and then I'm gonna fight for what it is mine. Allah will fight for His house.
Okay.
So that is
So the question, so put on the end of that. What's your question?
So now my question is, what do we do in terms, because we've done it peacefully, taking the knee with so many hashtags. How many more of us or brothers or kids are gonna die before we actually do something, before because we can't just
So I'm going to ask you now, since you asked me that, but you gave your own, what you see and what you think, which is good, because we want to get the people to thinking, but we want to make sure that We try to be realistic. And also, not saying that you're not realistic, but we want to separate reality from cause and effect. Because cause and effect is one thing, reality is another thing. And we also want to make sure we understand that people's ability, coupled with their anger and frustration, is much more than the eye can see, much more than the heart can explain. So when you talk about that, we don't know what the future brings, as it relates to, the peaceful way. Yeah, you always want to do the peaceful way because this is the main thing, to have some peace and security. This is what Ibrahim asked of Tabarak wa Ta'ala when he went to Mecca. Rabbi Ja'al hada balad aminan. Oh my Lord, maybe this, a secure and a peaceful town, village, city. Then he talked about the material needs, and give its inhabitants what they need, food and so forth. So the security, the peace is the main thing. And that's why the amendment is the right to what? Peaceful assembly. Nobody can take that away from you. So that's religiously, that's socially, and also that is the issue of natural inclination, that people normally want the peaceful way first. But again, it don't always go that way. Look, Musa and his brother, they went to him, but they were afraid. They were afraid. I mentioned that. And it didn't do them any good. They still had to depend on Allah wa Ta'ala, and they had to, challenge and fight and flee. So Allah knows best what's down the road. But we'll always look for the peaceful, the balanced, the most, logical approach. This is on all levels. The second thing is that you're talking about a type of system that it's ingrained, this oppression in the system. And it may be to the point that some people may have an idea that grew up here or came here when they were little, but most definitely people that's been here and their families for generations. They got grandfathers and grandmothers and great grands and great, aunts and uncles that, go back beyond the 50s and 40s, the 30s, the 20s in this country. They understand. They understand. And it may take 100 more George Floyd's by the wisdom of Allah to make that change. You see what I'm saying? We don't know. But what we have to do is realize we are part of that fight. We are part of that scenario. Living in this country, there's no type of way that those people are going to make you different from me. If you brown, black, caramel, even you could be what they call a red bone. Like Shaikh here said, in some countries, what we would consider he's a black man, they consider him white. Shaikh yeah, Shaikh here said that. But we know he ain't listen, I don't care what you say. They're going to put him in one category, minority, or they're going to call him a Negro, or a nigger, or he's black, or African American, like this. So when you're under that type of level of evil, and that type of, is now they're calling it not systematic, what they call it? Systemic. That's serious. Yeah, and it comes from the word system, systemic, like pandemic. Yeah, that means this thing, they have made this thing worldwide, I think. So they consider everybody other than them, the elite, to be in that category. So even if you're white, but you disagree with them, even if you're white, and you're not of that class sector that they have, even if you're white and you interracially married or in a relationship, even if you're minority, you're Arab, you're Latino, whatever, they consider you in the same category. But the hate for us, black people, is documented in the Constitution. And that's how deep that thing runs through their bones. So the only way that's going to change, like white America, who has really come to realize the only way we're going to keep going like this is to ignore it. And those who don't want to ignore it, we got to change it. They said the government got to make repentance. This is what the white man said. The police, he said, my people got to repent. Why? Because without repentance, it ain't going to change. We'll be fighting to the day of judgment to get change, but without the people who run this country repenting, it's not going to change. So our role as a black person, our role as a Muslim, our role as a minority is to understand the reality. It may not change. We may die trying to change this, and our children might see the change. But guess what? We got to know what's our place. We got to know that we have to be strategic, and we have to beat them at what they're good at. What they're good at is policy. What they're good at is putting stuff in writing. There's a statement that they use on both the state and federal level. If it's not in writing, it didn't happen. People who work for the state, if you don't document that you gave the medicine, or you checked the fire escape, or you made sure that the money box was locked, or you made sure that you did your rounds. If you don't document none of that, it's as if it didn't happen. And you can have it recorded on camera. You can have 4 or 5 people say, yeah, he did it. If it ain't written down, it didn't happen. So the thing is, we have to beat them at what they're good at, policy. And they have made people think, and this is one of the tricks of saying, don't protest, from the Muslim perspective. It's the way of the kufr. Ahi, your voice is mighty, ahi. The voice matters. We learned that from the prophet saying, change it for what? Your tongue, it matters. This thing in 10 days would have never happened except by the voices of the people. By the voices of the people. Enjoining the good, prohibiting the evil. Damn the odds who got the biggest guns and what they can do. The voices matter. Because Allah, He hears your call. Allah, He knows your pain. Allah, He knows your struggle. And He has promised that won't be in vain. But we also got to learn to take that thing to the pen and the paper. And that's why we said again, we need to make a worldwide petition. We need to mandate what we feel should be a punishment for people who do that type of oppression towards civil, law-abiding, innocent minorities. Just like when you go out and vote, they tell you it don't make no difference. Yes and no. But you won't know if you don't voice your opinion or cast your vote. So that's what we need to do. We got to realize what type of struggle we in. It's all inclusive. We got to acknowledge that this is an uphill battle and it ain't over. Even with 4 policemen being locked up, it ain't over. It ain't over. And that's not going to change the people who have this type of thing in their heart and their policy. We have to know that only Allah can make that change, and sometimes the change is through what we consider something that's a calamity or a misfortune, like losing lives. So we got to be involved. All this being in the mosque, as they say, or to yourself. No, we got to start making, if not quarterly, if not monthly, if not weekly meetings. We got to have community meetings with the rest of the people. With the Jew, listen, the Muslim ain't got no problem having no interfaith with them, huh? They ain't got no problem talking about stuff that we know is against the religion when it comes to, all of this sexual perversion. Why we can't get together and talk about this? And we don't have to see eye to eye or believe the same to deal with communal issues. Why? Because everybody shares in that. So that's the first step, That's the first step, And, as far as, it happened against Allah, it's with Allah. Only, Allah knows what and who's going to be next. No soul knows what tomorrow's going to bring, and nobody knows in what land, he's going to die. That's a thing of the unseen, but we got to keep working. We have to be organized, and we have to be, getting wahid. We got to be one unit.
Now, you got to understand the issue in regards to the human being and this system. And one of the problems that we're having right now is that we misidentify the problem. The problem really is about Tawheed and Shirk. The Shirk is the white man has a God complex. And by having that God complex, he believes in white supremacy. And by believing in white supremacy, he is able to gather white privilege. And what the Muslims have to call to is the oneness that there is no God but Allah, and that all mankind, all the human beings, we're not talking about religion right now, all of mankind is under the rule of Allah. Now, we don't have to, we go to interfaith, we don't have to agree about everything, but we need to be clear about our position in regards to the white man is not God. So all the stuff that he puts forward in terms of thinking that he's superior to the other persons, we have to fight those things and talk about everybody deserves respect and dignity, whether they're black, whether they're Native American, whether they're Chinese, whether they're, whether they're in Africa, or whether they're in South America, or the Mexicans on the border, with the children in the detention centers. So we need to be clear about our understanding, our perspective of what Tawheed is in regards to human relationships, and speak clearly around
that. Yeah, I didn't want to get that deep because no doubt what Imam Anwar said is, 100 is they like to say. There's no terminology 100, But when we talk about dealing on a social level, it's going to get sticky if you start with that from the ground up.
Well, the white man with the God complex, or white supremacy, we got to lay it out like that. We don't have to go too deep into our theological understanding. But the point about the white man's, white supremacy, everyone is saying this.
No doubt.
Everybody understands it.
No doubt.
And that's why they're able to enslave the blacks, steal Indians' land, and even oppress their own selves. So the ones that are higher than the others. So you leave it, you build on it, as our Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you build on it in the way that is palatable to the groups that you're dealing with. You don't have to get totally raw with all the Islamic, terminology and understanding. But we need to understand where all of this is coming from. So that we don't get sidetracked. See, the problem with interfaith is we get sidetracked because we start talking about the three Abrahamic buffets and we drinking spice, apple cider,
and the donuts, and we don't, and we all going to each other's religious gatherings, mixing it all together, and you're not getting anywhere. Because
Yeah.
the system could care less whether you do that or not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, it's kind of like I started that because I threw in the interfaith thing. I didn't mean to go that route. But I mean, you know, when you're talking about something of this magnitude, the murder of, you know, somebody right in front of you like this who's a minority that's like a volcano, it's been a build-up. You know, especially since we can say 2014, 2013, just over and over and over and over and over, then, you know, we don't want any type of divide, whether it be economical, religious, ethnic, you know, because that's the thing that's going to make it more easier for these people to keep us underneath their foot. You know, so that's why I didn't bring that up. But I mean, if we talk anybody's language, I think everybody, like Imam says, understands that, you know, the Christian, the Jew, everybody, like this white supremacy on the back of the dollar, they said in God we trust. But we know, you know, their actions is atheistic. No doubt, you know, because they feel that they are supreme. Look at the word, supremacy. From supreme, they think, you know, they're above the creator. You know. So, yeah, what he's saying is 100, you know, alhamdulillah. Now.
All right, so I think...
It got to be short.
Yes, it's going to be short.
African short.
You said everything right. And I think mostly, to me, to fix this problem from the start is we all need to start coming together into, like, blacks in the sense that like whether you're African American or you're African or you're from Jamaica or you're from, like, regardless of where you're from, and you know you're a minority, because like there is this, you know, like racial divide, because okay, just because I'm like African American, I look down upon on like an African, like, you know, you people come here, you know, like you think like you're better than us or stuff like that, or an African looking up to an African American saying, oh, like, you people are like, you know, like you're lazy and stuff like that, you know, like there's this, you know, or like diversion. So we need to break that divide where, okay, like, you know, regardless of where you're from, like, okay, because now they've made it, you know, like the white supremacy, like they've made it okay for them to hate on someone for no reason. So right now we need to start liking or loving ourselves for no other reason, because of, okay, like that is the only way we can break or fight that evil. Because if it's okay for them to hate, why can't we all, you know, like come together, not just for Floyd and moving forward? Because the same thing is going to happen, and then it's not going to be when someone dies, that's when we all going to come together.
But what you have to understand, how old are you? Are you 30 yet?
I'm 30 yet.
Yeah, okay. And this is not like in any way mean to be like rude or disrespectful, but that sounds good in the like they say in a perfect world, yeah. But that's far from the reality, because again, all of this is systematic. People from Africa didn't just start disliking African Americans, and people from the islands didn't start thinking African Americans are lazy just on their own, and people that are African American didn't start disliking African Americans on their own. It's all systematic, you see. And so the first thing, it's unfortunate, but the reality is that does bring us together. How many times we said we ain't seen these relatives and that aunt and these cousins, you know, in 10 years since such and such died? I mean, that's true. And that's from the wisdom of Allah, that brings us together. You know, we don't have any control over that. That's how Allah made it. That's out of His wisdom. We got to take it for what it's worth. But the thing is, we can't let the fire die out. we have to, as they say, strike while the iron is hot. Don't let, George go to North Carolina, then from North Carolina to Texas, like they said his body is, and then in another 10 days, it's forgotten about. No. And see, Allah has showed, with this thing being worldwide, the power and the momentum that this thing gained wasn't from us. Mm-hmm. This was from Allah Ta'ala, that He, out of His wisdom and His knowledge, showed us this through the death of George Floyd. See, when you talk about knowing that people have been put on railroad tracks while the train is coming for the train to run them over. When you talk about people, houses have been firebombed with little babies in the house, and they barely made it out with their mother in a nightgown and her underwear. When you talk about people, being killed, gunned down, in a car while they were at when we used to have the drive-in movie. Where you go outside and they have the TV screen to show, not inside the cinema, it's outside. You pull up on the lot, you pay your money. Yeah, when you talk about people being killed because they said he looked at a white lady, he didn't look at the white lady. When you talk about generations of just knowing, when you hear the police siren and you look in the rear view mirror, your heart starts beating because you don't know if they're going to pull you over and just start shooting. Nothing is better than understanding that could have been you on that ground. And that's the point that we are now. Everybody realizes that was a person's life. Yes, it was an issue of racism. It happened to a black man. But guess what? These people don't care when they have what they think the law is in their hands, who they kill. So don't frown upon the point that somebody got killed and we're coming together. No, this is the law's wisdom. But guess what? This ain't going nowhere. This 10 days of what Allah has showed, from the pain, the hurt, the frustration, the determination, I'm telling you, half the people around the world out front is white people.
That's right.
That ain't never been done in the history of America, no, in the history of mankind. That ain't never happened. Why? Because people realize how wrong it is when you have somebody begging for his life in front of the whole world. Everybody has cameras now. When people realize a man is saying he can't breathe, please, I can't move. When people hear the man say mama, and guess what? His mama been dead, they said, at least 2 years ago. So just like we have something in the Quran called balagha, it's a way of expressing something with a deep, profound way and language, but it carries a meaning other than what you see. Guess what? His mama's dead. So calling on his mama means he knew that he was on his way out of this life. Like, Mama, I'm coming to join you. Help me. When you see that, again, unless you have the heart of a devil, you have to make a change. You're forced to make a change.
What kind of mentality would sit on somebody's neck like that?
Yeah. And they said, many people analyzed his actions. Some people said, look, he had his hands in his pocket. Some people said, so that was the way that he could put all his weight down. Other people said that showed there was no threat or urgency. His hands is in his pocket, not around the man's body or his head. Others said, look at his smirk grin or the joy in what he was doing. Hey, that is time for a global, universal change. Again, is it going to happen overnight? No. We know that's not going to happen. Is everybody going to be in that uphill fight and battle? We know that's not going to happen. But again, these 10 days, that's a sign from Allah. This is history right now. What tomorrow's going to bring, we don't know. We're not worrying about it. But right now, we going to bed, inshallah, waking up, looking forward to the next day to fight, whether it's with the pen, whether it's to get out there and preach, whether it's to, cry and hold one another and let everybody know we in it together. It's going to be all right. Listen, that's the spirit. That's what we have to have in our mind. That's the priority. Because if not, then what was it all for anyway? What was it all for? So, don't think light of the issue. Don't think light of the issue by no means. And remember, it's a pandemic. Millions lost their jobs. Millions don't know how they want to eat. So all that showed the people that really they don't give a damn about us. Not y'all black or y'all no. They don't give a damn about us. That's what that showed. Because guess what? They could have did something about that too. They chose not to. They could have did something about that.
Wasn't important.
Yeah. You see? So, but we got to stay focused. And the people have the experience, the knowledge, the know-how, the courage. They got to be out front. Everybody else just got to take the baton and support and follow instructions. You know what I'm saying? Because this is real. This is real, man. And at the end of the day, again, that could have been you.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been me.
Absolutely.
That could have been anybody that it was decreed to be under that man's knee. It just happened to be George. And again, that was a sign, because while you would think a big guy like him, a guy who's African American, who left some place to change his life, while you would think, he must have been doing something bad. Guess what? The world said everybody loved that guy. They said when you go into neighborhoods where people have hostilities and beef, he was one of the guys. He could go anywhere and the people would love him. He wouldn't have no problem with anybody, any race of people. I mean, that's unique. That's unique in this day and time. He'd be always the first one to try to solve something, in the best manner. We claim we have the right religion and we follow the prophet, but how many of us rush to try to solve something, let alone in the right manner?
With whoever it is.
Yeah, but whoever it is.
White, black.
Yeah, black, white, whoever, male, female, Muslim, non-Muslim. I mean, let's ask ourselves. Yeah. SubhanAllah. And it's a shame the world had to see a man like that lose his life to somebody who's low down like those 4 cops. But again, that's a blessing in disguise, because guess what? A lot of people woke up from that evil to understand this has to change. It has to change. You see what I'm saying? So, just prepare yourself, and equip yourself with knowledge. Be balanced, don't be extreme, and understand, again, this ain't no Muslim, Jew, Christian, who going to heaven, who going to hell. This is the issue of humanity, I think.
Justice.
Yeah. That's up to Allah, who go to hell, who go to heaven.
That's right.
But this thing we talking about, that's the right of every human being. That don't nobody take his life and don't nobody treat him worse than a piece of crap.
Safety.
Yeah, safety, man. Yeah, man. Yeah. So, alhamdulillah. And we learn another lesson from this too. The people shouldn't tear up and, burned and vandalized. But guess what? You know, again, millions of people lost their jobs, so it was opportunity for them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? While the people was dealing with a great injustice, they took advantage because you couldn't concentrate on both of them at the same time.
And look, if you didn't have this dean you had, you might be right up there with it.
Yeah. Some Muslims out there and they got this
That's
thing.
right.
Yeah, some was out there. We got the report.
Let's say
You
if you
know.
weren't practicing.
Yeah, that too. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, alhamdulillah, you know, we thank Allah because, you know, this again just shows you, despite what we go through, we are a great people by the permission of Allah. This is a great land, a great country, and I mean, hey, with every great thing comes bad things and struggles, trials and tribulations, you know. So, but you know, hey, listen, people's heart right now is just full of, you know, love, fear, confusion, sadness, embarrassment, sorrow. I mean, it's all mixed, man. Because at the end of the day, what could you do except die for what's right? What else could you do? You can't die for what's wrong. You know? I mean, and really, you know, and our religion, Allah said, you know, the best from amongst you is the most God-fearing. Now let's look. Those people who was out there going against this oppression, in layman terms, they was God-fearing. In layman terms, they are advocating towards something that's God-given and that God wants, justice and liberty for all. Those people who took life, compare them to the people who protested. Which one of them is the best? Which one of them is the worst? The best people are the protesters. Mm-hmm. The worst people are the criminals who perpetrated the wrong. Yeah. So it's true on every level. And sometimes we become so, I hate to say it, but we become over-religious, we become stupid. Mm-hmm. We can't even see the real reality for the fallacy that we live in, I think. And you don't know from amongst those protesters, we don't know them people, you don't know. Some of them might be Muslim. Some of them might accept Islam. But people quick to, you know, condemn, I think. People quick to condemn, I think. Listen, we come from the church. I'm listening to the ceremony. They sing in the Christian song. I'm a Muslim, but guess what? That's where we come from. You think I didn't identify with that? And they said in Jesus' name, we said, but guess what? We still identify with, that's what we came from, man. We understand that. We was them just yesterday.
You got aunts, uncles.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. This is, you know, these are the people that Allah described in the Quran that recognize Muhammad. Those are the people that become Muslim. That's us. You see? But we ain't dealing with that now. We're dealing with man qatala nafsa bighayri nafs, who killed somebody you don't have the right to. And then it's in front of the whole world. How can you not hate that?
For sport, too. No reason.
Yeah.
Absolutely no reason.
Yeah. You know. So we ask Allah for his help out here. But this thing is bigger than the people say. You'll say. And people ain't playing. This was a pivotal move for the world out here.
Just like that pandemic.
Yeah. And it ain't over. It ain't over. Well, you got governors. The Cuomo, I said, go ahead, Cuomo. You know, may Allah bless and guide Cuomo. And you can say, may Allah bless the non-Muslim while they're alive. You can say that's religious, but you can't. I said, go ahead, Cuomo. Yeah, people serious about this thing, man. Because at the end of the day, the people just have some misconception of what they've been taught and how they come up. But everybody inside his heart, from the Jew, Christian, Muslim, they believe there's a creator. The problem is the worship and how they enact that thing. But they believe, Hakeem. The people wasn't on one knee because they was getting ready to play football. They was praying, Aki. Some of the people never prayed, Aki.
And when you experience the religious experience being what some of us was, they have a right to be confused.
Man. Yeah. Yeah. Like, for example, people, they jump on the slavery thing. Slavery thing. Real hard. Slavery. But guess what? Being a Christian, as an American who's black, is part of white supremacy. How you want to be free, but you don't let that go? It's part of white supremacy. Don't you get? The white man, he could have been any kind of man, but he's blind-eyed and blue-eyed on the picture said, that's your Lord. That's white supremacy, man, all day long.
Yeah, that's your God.
Yeah. So that stuff takes time, Akhi. It's just like the Muslim who claimed he on the haq, he following the Sunnah. He don't know nothing about the Sunnah. He think he do what he want to do. That stuff take time, Akhi. You gotta go through stuff. You gotta mature. You gotta really get tested sometime to see the reality of this thing, man. And if you don't get humbled, you're not going to catch the boat. You're going to miss it. It's about being humble. And knowing that you ain't nothing out here. And that's what's wrong, like the Imam said with these white people. They believe they everything out here. They ain't nothing. They're a human being like me and you. They can oppress, suppress, repress, but guess what? They ass ain't ready to die. They don't like, the white man ain't ready to die. They don't like that. That's the biggest fear for them. Why? Because they want this dunya. And part of this dunya, you gotta be superior over somebody, and you can't do it unless you make somebody inferior. Yeah. And this is the same thing we talk about Africa. But you go to all the African countries, the people that's Christian, they got that same Anglo-Saxon white picture of a Jesus who's their God all through Africa. On cabs, on billboard. Why they ain't got a black Jesus saying that's their God? White supremacy. So that stuff takes time. Why? Because it's systematic out here. Believe me when I tell you, from the drugs to not wanting nothing, to welfare, the jails, teaching the women to disrespect their husbands and their men and their boyfriends. They learned that from the white ladies. They didn't learn that from their mothers and aunts firsthand. That came from the white women's liberation movement. Did you know that? Did you know that? No. The white people was keeping them women in check. They couldn't go out and do stuff that was lewd. They couldn't even smoke a cigarette in public. Then they started getting together and said, no, the hell with this. We need to be free. The women rebelled against the white man and got some other people to help them. And when our women seen it, they said, we want freedom too. And then they taught them how to disrespect and how not to respect a man. And then they put things in place where she would have to choose. You want to eat? You want this check? You want these food stamps? You can't have nobody in the house. That means the father, who's the boyfriend of the husband, if we catch him, we're going to cut you. So how you going to pay the rent? How you going to pay the lights? How you going to feed your babies? So guess what? They have to choose. So he come around, get him a little booty or whatever, you know what I mean? But he got to sneak out. He can't be in the house. What'd that do? That was the beginning of breaking up the family. And the first time he give her some back talk, say, I'm the man, she said, nigga, you ain't even got no job. This is my house. Get out. He ain't on the lease. Generations of that is what people see now. But they said and labeled it, the black people don't want nothing, they lazy. It's systematic, Aki. Once you get that stuff in your head, Aki, it take a long time to get that out, because you feel like you ain't nothing. A man can't work and provide. You know that make him feel worse than a puppy or a kitten, Nahi? Because by nature, the man want to take care of his family. So it's all systematic. And now we get it. Now we get it. So, ask Allah for his help. So,
Jazakallah khairan.
Give me a human news, cool.
I know, man.